As of January 2022, exactly 1 year ago, there were two people in our company, Uability, and we did round about 30 lakhs in revenue. Fast forward exactly 12 months later, in January 2023, we clocked round about 1.42 crores in cash collected, and we now have a team of round about 10 people. In this video, I want to talk about how exactly I was able to go from that transition, how I was able to make that transition, and some of the lessons and failures that I learned as an entrepreneur that you can utilize if you are also a coach, consultant, service provider, or basically somebody who runs a business. And I'm sure these lessons will be very, very helpful to you. Let's get into those lessons. Today, I want to talk about 9 key lessons that I have in front of my screen right over here, which hopefully would benefit you. Lesson number 1 is compounding is basically literally the 8th wonder of the world. Now, I used to take this very, very lightly back in the past. I used to think, oh, everyone's saying compounding and all that, but does it really work? I decided to test it out. So what I did is I basically picked a business, and what I did is I decided to do the same thing over and over again repetitively every single day for the last 3 years. I was basically operating from my home office, and I woke up and I basically did some meditation, did some morning routine, opened the computer and repeated the same things exactly for 3 years straight. Unfortunately, most people or most entrepreneurs do not have the tendency to repeat the boring stuff every single day, and that's why they get distracted or they just give up. For example, right now the AI trend is going on, and I can see a lot of my clients being distracted all over the place. Oh, AI is so cool, I should go check it out, and I should probably build a business around that. The same thing happened when Bitcoin was skyrocketing, and a lot of my friends were saying, oh, Rohan, you should leave everything you're doing and you should just come join the Bitcoin race. What I did is I stopped doing all of that stuff, and I decided to focus on the one thing that I knew very well, which was helping other people by sharing my own experience of marketing and sales and helping other people get high ticket clients, right? And what I did is I used to say that message that, hey, I will help you get high ticket clients in my marketing and in my sales, and I never changed, right? Since the last 3 years. All of my competitors combined, what they did is they changed their companies, they changed their messaging. They were first talking about Facebook, then now they started doing YouTube and all those things, right? What started happening is the market started noticing, the market started understanding that, hey, consistency really, really matters, right? If somebody is out there just talking about one thing and is actually applying the same thing for themselves for a very long period of time, then the market actually starts understanding that, oh, you know what, this person, since he's been doing this and saying this since the last 3 years, and now he's producing all these results and it's actually working out for him, I should probably go and check that out. And as a result of this, some of the top coaches in the entire country decided to actually come book a call with us, and now are officially our clients, right? So this was a big realization. It's really, really hard for a lot of people to just wake up and repeat the same actions as if you are just a robot. And as an entrepreneur, I can understand your pain that you want to go try out something else. But unfortunately, one piece of advice that I can give to you is, imagine you're in the 1990s or whatever, so whenever the gold rush period was in America, right? And that, hey, if I do this action and if I keep repeating it, I might not see the results right now. It might not be instant, but one day it's going to pump out a lot of gold, right? Would you do it? And the answer is, unfortunately, a lot of people won't, right? Because you have to be patient, you have to be consistent, and you have to be persistent, especially when there's adversity, and you have to, keep continuing with the same stuff again and again, despite the adversity and despite you not seeing instant gains. And trust me, when the product market fit just really happens, your business just skyrockets, right? So do the boring work. That's what Alex Hormozi says. Stay consistent, and just keep building, especially if you see long-term growth in whatever you're doing. And eventually your market will listen, and all your efforts, right? You might not notice it instantly, but it will compound and everybody will realize it. One more thing that you should know is, you can literally have everything in life, but the problem is that, it's boring, right? To get that thing. For example, you want to lose weight. Stop Googling, fancy diets and stuff. Just go improve your diet, eat in a caloric deficit, and you'll be fine. Just go work out, right? But the problem is that you might try that out for a week or something, but doing it consistently for the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, it's very difficult to do. That's why there are very few people, probably less than 5% of the people with that level of body fat and that level of physique, right? And then if you look at basically anything, you could apply this concept to whatever you want to do, whether it's business, whether it's fitness, whether it's your personal life, social life, or whatever. You want anything, you have to actually be consistent, and you have to do it for a long period of time. If you don't do that, the chances of you making it are are very, very low. So that's my lesson number one. Compounding is actually the eighth wonder of the world. If you do something really consistently, you're consistent with your messaging, you're persistent, the world will notice and they'll come to you. Second lesson that I can share with you is don't foster B players, right? So what I did is when I started hiring, last year, I did not have much of a brand because again, I was starting out. It's not that I have a huge brand right now as well, but still, a lot better than what I had last time. And a lot of people in the industry respect us and understand who we are. So what happened is, back then I was getting a lot of applications for people applying for jobs, and I was very, very selective as well. But then, I decided to settle with somebody who I should have probably not hired in the first place, because they look great in terms of their application and everything. But when I started working with them, the amount of money, time, energy, efforts that costed me to actually manage that individual was probably worth in crores, right? So if I would have just gotten rid of that individual way back, I would have saved a lot of time, money, and stress, right? I think nothing on earth is worth your mental peace, right? And then what happened is, surprisingly, when I decided to actually hire A players in my organization, and I started to understand, hey, this is the difference between A and B. Even though a lot of people were like, Rohan, why are you paying this person so much? Nobody pays for this particular position so much. You're paying higher than the industry standards. You're being a fool. I decided to ignore all that advice and decided to pursue that anyway. And guess what? That team that we have built now, it's phenomenal. I can't even make you understand how grateful I am to those hardworking people who, Netflix has this policy that, if you have a position, rather than hiring two people for it, try to get one who's so smart that he could take the load of two people. And that's something that I decided to follow in my company, decided to pay more as compared to the industry standards, and decided to have A players. And now they are paying me back by making me a lot of money, right? And also taking a lot of my stress, workload, and everything else. So if you are at a stage where you can actually afford to hire individuals, my suggestion would be, unlike me, don't be cheap. Work on your branding and attract better talent. Trust me, it's going to save you a lot of money in the long term. Now, bringing to lesson number 3, sometimes pampering yourself is good. When I first started out as an entrepreneur, for the first 3 years, I worked like crazy. I don't think I took a single vacation, and every single day, as I told you for lesson number 1, I would just come to this room, meditate, and then just get to work. Okay. And what happens is, being consistent is really, really good, but eventually what's going to happen is you're going to experience burnout. Okay. What I would suggest doing is, especially, and I'm not saying at the start, if you're just beginning, you make some money and go splurge it on fancy stuff. I won't recommend that at all. I kind of feel grateful that I didn't do much of that pampering stuff which I'm about to share for the first 3 years, because that allowed me to have this business which allows me to do and spend on things that I like now. This advice is more for people who are 2 years of their business stage or 3 years, and you've actually put in a lot of work, a lot of efforts, and you've grown your business to a certain stage. What I would recommend is start pampering yourself, right? You might not realize the benefits of that right now, but if you're happy, you can do more work, and I just didn't think about it. So I'll just give you a few examples, right? Where I'm in Delhi, I was going to this gym and I was really, really pissed off. Oh my God, what's this rubbish gym that I'm going to? So what I did is one day just decided I'm going to go to the best gym in Delhi. And I decided to go take my driver, get a membership there, spend a lot of money to pay the annual membership, and I got in, right? And not just that, next to the gym, I also got an office space, right? Just on the same day. I remember it was on my birthday. Everyone was like, are you stupid? Why would you go and get such an expensive membership, such an expensive office, which is so far away from where you live? And I, as usual, what I've always done, I just ignored those people. When I started using that gym and when I started going to that office, I started feeling really, really good. I started enjoying my work. I started enjoying my workout, and in general, I started feeling happier. And as a result, my productivity went up. I had more zeal and will to actually continue to actually grow my business than I would have if I would have just continued to operate in circumstances or environments with things that I do not appreciate. So invest in small things. For example, if you write every day, get a good pen. It doesn't hurt. If you use a laptop every day, make sure you have the best one possible in the marketplace. If you use microphone, make sure it's the best one. But again, remember one thing, it comes in stages. You can't, of course, afford to do that probably within your first couple of years of your business. But once you have cash flow coming in, start pampering yourself. I'm sure it's going to benefit you a lot. Now, lesson number 4 that I learned, which is very, very important in 2022, is that scarcity is actually not good for you, right? So a scarce mindset especially when you're running a business and when it comes to client attraction. What happens is when you're thinking with scarcity, you're thinking like, oh, nobody will pay me so much, right? I don't think there are enough people in India. I don't think this is going to work out, etc., etc. So I had those kind of beliefs when I was starting out my business, and as a result, what happened is I used to take, anybody with a card and a pulse to join our program, which was a big mistake. Now, don't get me wrong. We had a niche, right? Like coaches, consultants, and service providers, right? But what I didn't know is that there needs to be a niche within a niche. This means you have to get clear regarding the kind of people that you want to work with. I'll give you a few examples. There have been times in my life I've enrolled people in my program who actually are so disturbed mentally. Like they have issues with their families. They're always crying, cribbing, blaming the world, and doing all sorts of things other than just working. And what used to happen is when I used to talk to these individuals, right? Sure, it's my job as a coach to, like, of course, help them out, but I'm not a therapist, right? And when these people used to pass on that negative energy to me as well, my rest of the day was like really, filled with a lot of negative emotions. I wasn't happy. I used to be just, within myself. And trust me, what I said earlier, no amount of money, and listen to this carefully, no amount of money is worth your mental peace. I wish I had known this way earlier. If you have clients, and please bear with, okay, before I get into this, make sure, some people are like, they're gonna take this advice the wrong way. Before I give you this advice, make sure that you actually have a decent product or a service. Most people do not have a decent product or a service. Their clients are unhappy, and in general, their entire coaching program sucks. Make sure that, first you have a solid product, you have a solid team, you have solid customer support, and you are producing amazing wins. Now, in my case, I have 1,400 clients and around about over 700 case studies. That's over 50% client to success ratio. You show me one coaching program in the entire country that can match a client to success ratio, I'll be stunned. So I've worked really hard to make sure that our client to success ratio is really hard. I've worked really hard to actually make sure our team support and product is really top quality, at least in the entire Indian standards, right? Now, once you have done all that stuff, right, you will still come across clients who are just not going to be happy. It's not because something's wrong with you. It's because business and building a business has a lot to do with your mindset and your personal stuff. In my opinion, I think somebody said to me once that, Rohan, business is like a reflection of what's happening in your personal life. Now, all these people will come, I remember on call, one time this guy was fighting with his wife, and I used to do this call with this woman who would be on video call, and there would be a maid cleaning the thing, and she'd be yelling at the maid. I've gone through a lot of stuff, right? just letting you know. And that's why, being successful isn't easy. But the point I'm trying to tell you is, if you have such clients, and if you have clients where you're pouring a lot into them, but they are just not making progress, and not just with you, but with anything in life, they're just stuck. They're just not moving forward because of their own limiting beliefs and their own personal stuff and their baggages. It's not your responsibility to fix that, right? That's just my opinion. That's my 2 cents. Now, somebody might say, no, Rohan, you should take care of your client's entire thing. No, I'm a business consultant. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist, right? I used to take a lot of it on me earlier that, hey, it's my responsibility. They are my client. I need to fix everything in their life, whether it comes to their mindset, their personal stuff, their business, or whatever. I need to get them success. That's why they have paid me money. But then that's a wrong belief, because you can help them to a certain extent, but you can't completely fix all their problems in their life, which are going to eventually come into business. It is precisely what's going to stop them from moving forward. Doing a business like this is not that tough. I'm telling you very openly. You generate leads, you do calls, and you close that. And similarly, losing weight or, something like that isn't very tough either. You go to the gym, you eat clean, and you repeat it. But the problem is, even though it's a 3-step thing, a lot of people have a lot of personal stuff going on in their life, which doesn't allow them to do that, right? So don't do that. There's no point working with clients who are not worth it. And just remember one thing, 80% of your clients will keep you broke. Just 20% of them will give you the maximum referrals, ascend the most, pay you the most, and will actually benefit your business the most. Focus on those 20%, and then focus all your marketing activities on attracting those 20% and repel the other 80% that just do not work out. And have a niche within a niche. Just this means a coaches, in my opinion, wasn't just a niche. What I should have done is probably coaches who live in certain location, who earn certain income, who have this kind of mindset, this kind of political attributions. They have this much minimum work ethics, right? And they have this much personal stuff sorted out for them. And that's the level of clarity that I had to get to before I started enrolling clients. And hopefully this will benefit me now. Lesson number 5, I think I kind of like touched upon it. Everything you do or anything you do in life, it's a volume game, right? So you want better physique, just go to the gym more. Just eat clean. Same goes with business, right? You want more sales, just figure out how to get more sales calls, right? It's a volume game, and you can apply this principle in anything you do. Anytime you're feeling, oh my God, things are not working out, just ask yourself the question, hey, how many times should I take the necessary actions to be able to get to success? Lesson number 6 I want to talk about is business is a system, and you should expect the system to break. Now, I have this new belief regarding this, that there's no system which is evergreen, okay? I thought initially when I started out, I will build this product which will work out for like years and years. And it did, by the way, but I thought I won't have to make any changes to it and it'll just work out. Once this problem of my life is sorted, now I can just scale and spend endless money. But it doesn't work like that. Systems are meant to be broken, right? And when systems break, it's good because now your business is evolving, and you should understand that this is how it works, right? And you should be ready for it and you should be prepared for it. Unlike kind of like what I did, I wasn't prepared for a lot of my systems breaking, and when they did break, I was burnt out. I remember like I was working 14 hours a day and I almost went insane at one point, which I would not recommend to anybody, right? So expect systems to break, and understand that there's a timeline when they would break, and when they do break, be prepared and make sure that you take the necessary actions to be able to support those systems. For example, when I first started out UAbility, one of my biggest systems that broke was that I didn't have a great enough product, or I didn't have an automated product. I was providing a lot of group coaching, one-on-one coaching, and as a result, I capped out, right? Then when I did build an amazing product, the next thing that I needed great content, but a lot of people used to miss out because they need more interaction, right? So I kind of like added group coaching to it. And then I realized that people want to engage with each other, so I added like a community to it. And then I realized that people want more human touch, so I decided to get coaches into it. But then I realized that people are not just happy with coaches, they want one-on-one support. So that's why I decided to get account managers into the picture, right? And this is how like your business will grow. You will realize that you need more things. Demands of customers will rise, which is normal, by the way. It's like, think about Amazon, right? When Amazon got started, back then, I think there used to be like, you order something online, probably you'll get it in a month, right? Then Amazon came into the picture. I think they started 1 week delivery, and then eventually 2 days delivery, and then 1 day delivery, right? You got Prime or whatever. I think now in US, you can even get the delivery in a couple of hours through a drone or whatever. And then eventually, things will probably be instant or whatever, right? But then the thing is that the consumers will never be satisfied, because how many times when your package from Amazon doesn't arrive, you're like, where is it, right? Because your expectations keep rising, you start to understand that this is the norm now, right? I expect better service, I expect better quality, and that is kind of like what your customers will also expect. When you keep over delivering, their expectations will reach to a point where you are like, oh my God, this is too much. But then you can't say it's too much, because that is what you signed up for, which is entrepreneurship, and you have to keep on delivering till the time they are satisfied, but then they won't be satisfied again, and then you have to keep repeating the process. So the point is, systems are never evergreen, they break. You have to keep innovating and you have to keep evolving. That's how it works, right? Which brings me to the next part, which is lesson number 7, which is being a CEO isn't cool, right? So when I was a kid, I used to see all these movies, Social Network, I think I saw Jobs, and I was like watching these people in these movies, and I was like, oh, that's so cool, wearing shirts and like having this office and screaming at people and like, expecting people to do the job or whatever. Like being a CEO, and then appearing in media, and then like doing all sorts of stuff. That's the fun side of being a CEO. But then what I didn't know is that movies did not cover 80% of the reality, which is like being a CEO is super boring and it is super stressful. It is the toughest job that anybody would do in their life, in my opinion. Like, I remember I was at office once, this guy just comes up, he's like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, I do this. And I'm like, what do you do? And he's like, I do this. And then he looks at me, he's like, so you're a CEO, right? You're a founder. I'm like, yeah. He's like, good luck, man. So I was like, oh, what does that mean? And now I know what that means, right? So being a CEO requires you to level up at so many levels and have so many skills. You need to know people management, you need to know numbers, you need to know marketing, you need to know a little bit of sales, you need to know a little bit about operations, you need to know about finance. And these are just departments, by the way. Then you need to have like different kind of skills. For example, you need to have people skills, you need to be good at math, you need to be good at communication, you need to be good at psychology so that you can understand how the other person is thinking. This is a lot, and that's why most people are not just equipped for it. And this is why you would see that there are a lot of companies out there started by founders who then find a CEO to replace them. So being a CEO, in my opinion, is like being Batman, right? It's cool, but it comes with a lot of baggage and responsibilities, and most people are just not equipped to live that life. I think I'll just say the same thing to you what that other CEO told me. Good luck. It has a lot of benefits, of course. You're going to be one of the top 1% richest people on earth, but it does have a lot of baggage, right? When I had my first job, my first mentor, I remember the pain that I saw in his eyes when he was running that business. It's like, I didn't realize it back then, but now I do. So bro, if you're watching this video, shout out to you. And I also watch videos from like Joe Rogan's podcast. I don't know if you've seen it. It's on YouTube with Elon Musk. Like if you've watched that video, like look at Elon Musk, like look at his face, right? He literally said on the interview, nobody wants to be me. The good side or the flashy side of it looks pretty awesome, but then you must understand the other side. By no means I'm discouraging you to do this, right? If you believe that you can actually take all that and you have what it takes in you, go for it, right? But understand that this is the cost that you'll have to pay to become a CEO. Last lesson that I want to share, I'm not going to touch too much upon this, are taxes and expense management. The first thing is, of course, you should start caring, especially if your company is producing decent money. You should be much more prepared for it in advance. That's my suggestion to you, something that I did not do. The other thing that you should do is stop worrying too much about tax saving tactics and strategies, in my opinion. Now, you can do a lot of that stuff, and I know a lot of people that get super stressed and aggressive. And I was once when I realized, oh my god, I need to pay that much tax, oh my god, I can't do that. And then I used to think oh, what can we do, what we can't do, right? And I used to discuss with all these people, and then I was like, hey, I've spent these many hours trying to save this much income, whereas if I would have spent that same amount of time back in my business, I would have probably made 3 times more than that. I'm not suggesting that you just completely ignore this. Definitely go talk to your CA or your financial advisor, but don't stress so much that you are losing your sanity. That's just my suggestion to you. So anyway, if you like videos like such, I hope these lessons were really beneficial to you. And if they work, just try to not make as many mistakes as I do. Learn from these lessons, and I hope you do have a wonderful 2023, which is very successful. My hope is that I could probably document my lessons and failures as I grow this company Uability with you on my YouTube channel, so that other entrepreneurs can actually get inspired, motivated, and basically scale. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe to this channel. And I also did one video in front of my clients back in May, where I did talk about more lessons and failures that I've experienced last year, which you can check out somewhere here. It's definitely going to be worthwhile. All right, Rohan, Dhawan here. Appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.